Hi, I'm Erin Koerselman, the founder of HonestlyADHD.com and an ADHD parenting coach. I am here today to talk to you about a tool that is so versatile and so powerful that everybody who is working with kids who have ADHD need to have in their parenting toolbox. This tool is so powerful that it can help your child stay on task. It can help teachers effortlessly help your child stay on task and keep a positive classroom. And it can help you and your child change your mindsets from negative self-talk to positive empowerment. I'm so excited to talk to you about this today, so let's get started. The product we're going to be talking about today is called the MotivAider. MotivAider. In other words, aiding your motivation. And they talk about changing habits the easy way. That's their coin phrase on their box. Habit change the easy way. What it is a little device that looks like this, and we'll go through this in just a second. First things first, I need to let you know I do not have an affiliation with the company that makes this product. I am just a customer. I've bought them for ourselves, I've bought them as gifts, I recommend them to clients, and I've given some to our schools. I like it that much, and I needed to tell you about the product so that you can like it too. I have put some links below about where you can go to buy your own. I do need to let you know that there is a competitor out there called Revive, and I've put a link below to their manufacturer website down below. Now, I've never tried that product. I don't know if it's better or worse, but I wanted to let you know. It appears to use some smarter technology. This guy is pretty basic, but it also appears to be about twice as expensive and less flexible. So I'm not sure. If anybody does try the Revive and wants to tell me your reviews, I would love to hear them. So like I said, the MotivAider is coined as a way to change habit. Now, it is super simple. All this thing does is it vibrates at set intervals that you get to set, anywhere between 1 minute to all the way up to 23 hours. Now, with that kind of flexibility, you can use it for a ton of things. I'm just going to tell you 3 ways that we have used this tool very effectively. Like the introduction said, we're going to use the MotivAider to help your child stay on task. You can use this at school, during homework, practice, etc. And the concept is very basic. Instead of you tapping him on the shoulder saying, "Are you doing what you're supposed to be doing?" The MotivAider is going to buzz. It's going to be in his or her pocket or attached to their waistband. It hides very nicely under clothes if they don't want their friends to know. And it's going to buzz, and at that moment, they are going to ask themselves, am I doing what I'm supposed to be doing? If the answer is yes, I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, they need to give themselves a little pat on the back. If the answer is, oops, no, not doing what I'm supposed to be doing, then they get back on track and give themselves a pat on the back. The only time they don't give themselves a pat on the back is if they completely ignore the MotivAider. The buzzer goes off, they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing. They say, who needs the MotivAider anyway? The key here is to find an interval that isn't too frequent that they're going to become desensitized and bored, and too long that they can't see the success that they need to see and that they're always getting in trouble anyway. Okay, so you need to monitor your child and figure out, okay, I have a child who's getting in trouble or who's getting off task every about 3 to 4 minutes. So I would set that timer not at 5 minutes, because every 3 to 4 minutes they're already off track. 5 minutes they're probably already in trouble. I would start with that child, depending on what I was actually seeing, probably around 3 minutes and 30 seconds. That will give them enough times for success where they can just give themselves a virtual pat on the back, or it will also give them enough times to self-correct their behavior and give themselves a pat on the back without teacher noticing too much yet. Once they have a couple of successful days under their belts at the 3 minutes and 30 seconds, I would then extend that. I'd move the intervals up to 4 minutes or 4 minutes and 30 seconds, 5 minutes, whatever that is, to keep your child engaged. For some kids, the virtual pat on the back and self-correction coupled with not getting in trouble as much in class is going to be enough to motivate them to continue this behavior. Other kids, that will not be sufficient, and those kids are going to need a motivation on top of this, and you got to get a little bit creative. The fact that these kids are now staying on task, able to get their work done, not getting in as much trouble at school. Those are all such celebrations that are going to build one success upon the other. However, there are 3 other things that your kid is going to be experiencing that will help strengthen their executive function skills. One is simple positive feedback. The other is self-awareness. And the third is self-talk. And going back to positive feedback, our kids aren't often told a lot of positive messages. And in order to counteract all the negativity that they receive day in and day out from the world, we need to teach them to stay positive in their own minds, which I know as parents, many of you have your own troubles with. You can imagine being a 10-year-old kid constantly being barraged with negative comments and kind of internalizing that. So the first thing that I really want to hit home with you is that this is teaching your child how to be and stay positive to themselves. Congratulations, Johnny, you're awesome, you're on task. Second thing this is teaching them is self-awareness. And like I discuss in my ADHD courses, self-awareness, the mind's mirror, is something that these kids are really lacking. So when the buzzer goes off and they are prompted to notice themselves that they are off task, it helps to build their own self-awareness day after day, interval after interval. The second thing is awareness. Now, for those of you who have coached with me or taken any of my courses, you know that these kids are either lacking or way behind in what Dr. Barkley calls the mind's mirror, or in other words, self-awareness. They don't have it, and for many of the kids, they're way behind in years. So when they are prompted on their own through a small little vibration to notice that they are off task or on task, to become self-aware and to monitor that themselves, that is huge. You're going to start building that self-awareness skill that is delayed. The third executive function skill that you're going to be working on here is self-talk, the mind's voice, according to Dr. Barkley. And again, if you've gone through any of my coaching or you've done any of my courses, we'll go through that in detail. But essentially what you're doing is you're teaching these children who are way behind in their self-talk skills to talk to themselves in a positive way, which is super important. So in other words, saying, hey man, you're off task, but let's get on task. Woohoo, another point, pat on the back. They need to get as much credit or more credit for self-correcting a behavior than they do for just doing it well the first time. Self-correcting a behavior, noticing I'm off task, I need to take my brain and my body and pivot it and go do something that I'm supposed to be doing, is harder than staying on task in the first place. That's a perfect segue into the next way that we use the MotivAider to really build an effective classroom environment. So if you're a teacher or have friends who are teachers, forward them this video because they will definitely think this is an awesome thing to use in their classroom. So every teacher knows that positive feedback is so important for their classroom. Positive feedback begets positive behavior in so many instances, and it doesn't take long to do, but it is so hard to remember and so hard to follow through on consistently. So we wanted to find a way to help teachers do that really easily. Now, this idea did not come from me. It came from a principal who was telling me about how another teacher used this in his classroom in an ingenious way. So this particular teacher was really kind of filled to his max. He had kids in his classroom who he needed to give positive feedback to frequently, but he also was trying to remember all the things he was asking kids to do, juggling 20 to 30 little bodies, trying to remember all the last minute changes to, transportation schedules and lunch issues and notes that got sent from moms or dads during the day, and positive feedback just kept falling down and down and down the list. So he decided to use the MotivAider on his own as his reminder to give positive feedback, right? So he didn't have to keep remembering, give Johnny positive feedback, give Johnny positive feedback. He was able to just say, oh, the MotivAider is going to let me know when that has to happen. So when the buzzer goes off, he gives Johnny thumb up, or he might go over and give a high five or whatever. And it is seamless and easy. So this third concept gets a little deep. That's why I saved it for the end. But this is all about changing the way we think. Negative self-talk is an automatic habit for so many of us, parents and kids alike. And what I want to do is start with you, because that's where I started, was with me as a parent. I would go through my day wondering what in the heck was going to go wrong next, why God gave me this challenge, because I clearly wasn't up to it. I would just go through my day speaking really negatively to myself. So I decided to change it. I used the MotivAider to think a thought, and I set the thought up in the morning. So it can be a thought like, I am enough and more for my children. Or I am a wonderful mother to my kids. I am the calm for my child when he or she is in emotional chaos. Right? Anything. You can say that to yourself over and over. So pick it in the morning and then set an interval, right? And you can set it for every 5 minutes, every 10 minutes. I just take 2 breaths. I take 1 deep breath in, say the mantra, take the deep breath out, take 1 more deep breath in, say the mantra, deep breath out. That's it. So you're going to learn how that feels. And then you're going to help your child do the same. Now, if you're helping your child with the MotivAider do focus, stay on focus. Do not do focus and thoughts and blah, 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 blah. Don't keep adding, okay? Let your child pick a mantra. I'm as awesome as Superman. Whatever it is, right? Like, they can pick whatever thing that they want to say about themselves as long as it is positive, and give them the MotivAider for a weekend. This is so big because anxiety and depression go hand in hand with ADHD. ADHD kids are 9 times more likely to try to commit suicide and 10 times more likely to succeed. So we need to help these kids have positive thoughts about themselves. They tend to ruminate. Their brain takes off and thinks negative thoughts. We need to help them pause. Stop that thought process. Take some deep breaths and say positive things to ourselves. That needs to become a habit that they do starting at a young age. And believe me, your children are really never too young to understand the concept that what they think is not who they are. Your children need to understand that just because their brain goes somewhere doesn't mean that they have to go with it. So this is a great way to start with them, something really, really simple, using a tool that they've become familiar with to remind themselves, I am as awesome as Superman 30 times a day. So let's wrap this up. You guys, I am so excited to hear how you're going to use this MotivAider. Please, please tell us about it. We love to hear success stories and new innovative ways to teach our kids. So head over to Facebook and post on our wall, or you can email me at Erin@honestlyadhd.com, or simply go down into the comments and let us know. We love comments. And visit the website, www.honestlyadhd.com. We've got a blog there. I've got a description of parent coaching services there. And we've got all sorts of information and freebies that you can sign up for and get delivered to you right to your mailbox.